More than 500 people are feared dead after a huge blast at a hospital in Gaza City. This is Undiluted News, Mikey Bones reporting. And the explosion took place at the Al-Hi hospital. Hamas has blamed the blast as an Israeli airstrike, but Israel has denied its military was involved and said the blast was caused by rockets fired by Palestinian Islamic Jihad. The militants have since denied blame, and the entire Muslim world is blaming Israel without proof. Now ask yourself, who is it to benefit most from the death of these innocent people in a hospital? Is it Israel or the terrorist organizations? There are four known terrorist organizations in that region of the world, and a blast of this nature is bound to stir up the Islamic world if Israel gets the blame. You have Hezbollah just waiting to get involved. They already were launching rockets on Israel last week and throughout this week. The Palestinian Islamic Jihad is there as well, which is a remnant of ISIS, is there along with Hamas. Few days ago I warned that this war was going to spread, and this is how and what they will do to stir up more chaos. Who is responsible? No one knows. Could it be a stray rocket from Hamas, a stray rocket from Hezbollah, or from the Islamic Jihad, or was it a stray rocket from Israel? Or could it be intentional to expand the war to other countries? Because every city in the world with large Arab populations are now protesting, and the protests are extremely large. No one have any proof of who fired that rocket, but there is many blame going around. Meanwhile, President Biden met with Prime Minister of Israel Benjamin Netanyahu today and said that the blast seemed to have come from the other side, not Israel. And he has been due to meet King Abdullah of Jordan, Egyptian President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, and Mohammed Abbas, the leader of the Palestinian Authority, which administers the West Bank. But he was not scheduled to meet with any Hamas who had controlled Gaza. But all those meetings were cancelled. The Philip Powell story has now gone international, as the United States Navy Criminal Investigative Service has now joined the investigation of the murder of his 10-month-old daughter Saraya Powell and her mother 27-year-old Tashina Pattison. United States Naval Officer 34-year-old Leota Bradshaw is among 4 people who are charged for those murders. Bradshaw is facing charges of murder and kidnapping, and this story was aired on Monday night on NBC News in Miami. The St. Catherine police have arrested and charged a suspected hitman for the murder of a foreign national. Kerry Rutherford, otherwise known as Mad One, was arrested over the weekend, and he's suspected to have fatally shot Shernet Hammond, an American citizen, in late September in Fraser's Content in St. Catherine. Miss Hammond was returning from a funeral at Meadows Memorial Gardens when, upon reaching the Red Pond area, the accused stepped into the road and opened fire on the vehicle she was in. Miss Hammond received several gunshot wounds to her head and upper body. She was pronounced dead at hospital, while another man was treated for gunshot injuries and released. The police believe that Mr. Rutherford was operating as a hitman. Homicide detectives are now probing the murder of a music selector in Spanish Town, St. Catherine yesterday morning. David Palmer, 40, was shot dead in Dempsey Pen about 10:45 a.m. Investigators reported that residents heard loud explosions in the area and discovered the body of Mr. Palmer with bullet wounds. Meanwhile, a man was killed by a madman in St. Elizabeth. Police named the deceased as Joanne Witt, a 24-year-old, otherwise called Ian, a resident and laborer of Trial District, and it is said that both men had an altercation at a bar and the madman left and returned with a spade. Witter tried to walk away but was attacked and hit in the head with a spade. He was rushed to hospital where he died. And this next story is just as brutal as that one, so brace yourself. A man is dead following a machete attack allegedly by his own brother, who is believed to be suffering from a mental illness. The deceased is George Jones of Johnny's Hill District in Clarendon. Reports are that about 6:30 p.m. on Monday, the suspect Joseph Jones was at home with his brother George when a dispute developed between them, and it's alleged that Joseph used a machete to inflict several chop wounds to George's head and upper body. And it was further reported that about 7 o'clock Tuesday morning, Joseph told their neighbor that he had killed his brother. The suspect proceeded to ask the neighbor for assistance to dig a hole to bury his brother's body. The neighbor subsequently alerted the police. The police said on their arrival, the body of the deceased was seen lying face down in a pool of blood next to a fowl coop at the back of the yard. And it's so funny how the Liad government and the Prime Minister can come out and tell people how crime and murder have gone down, when every day we have so many of those kind of stories. At least 3 double murders take place, along with at least 4 to 5 murders elsewhere in the country. There's so much murder being committed that I do not even carry half of them, neither the main source either, To learn how much murder is being committed, you sometimes have to listen to the bloggers as they carry a lot of the crime scenes with names of those who get killed, why they get killed, and most times call the name of the person who did the murder. And this is actually a daily thing. They're trying to reduce the total of the amount of murders this year. So the government have to start to spread the false report from now. So when the end of the year comes, they will tell you, oh, only 1,200 people get murdered. But don't believe them. It's going to be a whole lot more than what they're going to be telling you. A disagreement over land is reported to be at the heart of a gun attack in Parks Road above Rock St. Andrew on Monday, which left 2 men dead and a third wounded. The deceased have been identified as 76-year-old Walton Pusey, a farmer of Parks Road, and 61-year-old Sylvester Leslie. According to the Constant Springs CIB, Mr. Pusey was the target of the attack. The land dispute is reportedly before the courts as we speak, and it's reported that about 6:50 p.m., patrons were at a shop at the T-junction of Parks and Cushney Road when a grey Honda Fit shuttle stopped near the building. 4 men alighted with guns walked up to Mr. Pusey and informed him that they were there for him. Patrons were also instructed to put their phones away. The men then opened fire at Mr. Pusey, hitting him several times. He died at the scene. Another man was also shot in the arm and taken to hospital for treatment. The body of the third man was found in bushes close to the shop yesterday morning, and it also had bullet wounds. We now move on to sports. We're going to start with Manning Cup. In yesterday's game, we had St. Catherine beating Holy Trinity 7-0, Papine beating Ascot 5-2, Eltham beating Greater Portmore 4-0, Excelsior were 6-0 winners over Cloncarty, Cedar Grove were 2-1 winners over Tarrant, Tivoli beat Meadowbrook 3-1, Jamaica College were also 3-1 winners over Kingston Tech, Spanish Town beat Cumberland 2-1, Haile Selassie High beating Dunoon 2-1, and Mona beating Norman Manley 4-1. There were several games in the Docasa Cup competition yesterday as well. We have Anota Bay beating Caron Hall 3-0. Edwin Allen was also 3-0 winners over Lennon. Christiana High beating Alphonso Davis High 2-0. We have Mile Gully beating Homewood 2-1. Belfield beating Knox College 3-0. Thompson Town beating Claude Mackay 2-0, Magrat and Charlemont playing to a 0-all draw, while Dinthill beating Enid Bennett 3-0. Magati were also 3-0 winners over Roger Clark, while Ocherius was 4-1 winners over Cedric Titus, and a big win for William Nib beating Brownstone 5-1. And that's going to be news and sports on your favorite community radio. My name is Mikey Bones. Have a wonderful day, everybody. I gone.